This female viewer asked, "My ex came back and has done it before. Why is that?"
This reminds me of something that we were talking about earlier about the man who has that girl and he's not sure. She'll kind of do, what if this is the best it gets? I think I can do better. So he leaves for a little bit and finds something else, and that doesn't work out. So he goes back to that one because, well, I know how much this one loves me. She'll always be there for me. So I've got this happening right now. It's not really the one. Finds something else, leaves it again, comes back to her because he hasn't found, the ship hasn't landed yet. The plane hasn't landed yet. I don't have the one, so I keep on going back to the one. You're being abused.
That's monkey branching. Monkey branching back to the same one, because the reality, if you're with somebody and they're amazing, and whether it's a great friend or a great woman in your life, you're going to connect on a soul level, and those people, those connections will be with you for the rest of your life. There's certain people you're supposed to meet, and the older you get, the more you can look back on your life and see that. But if something's not working and you're hung up on somebody that's not meeting your needs, if you don't love yourself and value yourself enough, you'll stay there and allow that person to keep coming back. Self-love says, hey, if you really love me, you wouldn't have left the first time. If you really love me, your words and actions would be a match. And the reality is human beings have two primary fears: fear that we're not enough, we don't have what it takes, or that we won't be loved. And that's, we won't be loved by our friends, our family, our peer group, the girl we have the hots for, or whatever. And so men and women, every single human being on the planet has those two primary fears. And if a guy recognizes that he's not happy and he wants, there's something more out there, and he believes in it, and he leaves, but he's weak and he lacks confidence, or he's impatient, and it doesn't happen within 3 or 4 months or 6 months or a year or whatever, he'll go back to what's comfortable, because at least that was better than anything he's found since. But at the end of the day, they're typically coming back, and then they go right back to the same type of behavior.
The thing is that...
Because it's easy, it's comfortable. It's like
easy.
putting on an old pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Because it's easy and you're easy and you're allowing it.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's like, in a way, it's like you made the decision. Why are you coming back? I don't know. It's something I've never understood personally.
Well, I guess my own personal experience as a male. Anytime that I found myself trying to reconnect or just trying to hook up with my exes, it's purely because I'm horny. That's the only reason. They're exes for a reason. The only time I'm really reaching out is just because I'm horny at the time. Honestly, it's...
I feel like they're gonna keep on coming back until they find like the actual.
And you guys were right when you guys said it's easy.
Yeah, and that's kind of messed up. Honestly,
easy.
It's really messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason is because it's easy, because it's happened before. You have that understanding. It's not like meeting a whole new person, going through that whole process. You have a lot of the legwork kind of done.
Mm-hmm.
And if you weren't
so it's like reheating
easy,
the leftovers. That's what it is.
If you weren't so easy, maybe you would actually put them to the test. Maybe you'd put yourself to the test and put them to the test at the same time, and maybe that person would realize they really do love you and really do want you, or not, and vice versa. But if you're easy and they keep coming back,
it's only easy because you're allowing it, and if you don't put your foot down, they're just going to keep using you and using you until you're dried out,
Whatever you tolerate, you invite more of. No one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do.
cut the theme music.
Yeah.
That was a good end.
We got to know what your outcome is and what you want. And it's hard, man, because it's like starting a good business or meeting a new best friend or cutting somebody loose that's been in your life maybe since you were kids, and you grow up and you just recognize this person's messed up and they're not going to change. And it's in order for me to achieve my goals and dreams, I can't be associated with people that are doing these kinds of things because they're bringing me down. And you have to cut somebody loose that's been in your life or been with you, been a good friend for a long time. Or same thing with a relationship. It's not easy, but if your heart is telling you that it's time to move on, you got to honor that. You got to honor your truth and what feels right. And then, but like I said, you never know. Like what I've experienced is over the course of my life is that whether it's a great friend or a woman that I connect with on like a soul level, you get maybe 1 to 3 of those a decade total. And so good people don't come along. Like when I think of good friends that I've accumulated over the last probably 20 years, I got one that I can think of as really an amazing friend, new friend, in addition to ones that I had. Even from my high school, I had like 2. I had your brother and your dad were like out of everybody, the cream of the crop, best, most successful families, coolest people, and like all of the Fort Lauderdale area. Went to Cardinal Gibbons. Is like those were the 2 dudes that we just clicked with, and we always managed to stay in touch like for forever and ever. Just like Jennifer and meeting her in my 20s, and you know, at the construction company that we worked at. And here we are, almost 30 years later, and we're still good buds, good pals. We work together. I mean, we used to double date together because our their families were very close. And so it was just kind of funny how we worked together, and then the people that we were dating and later ended up marrying, that their families were close too. It was pretty cool. People come into your life and you just know, like my friend Andy, who, I don't know if you remember him, Andy, the German guy? You guys met him?
I don't think so.
And Mike, well, you met Mike. You met Andy, the German dude in Orlando.
Did I? Oh,
you did the podcast. And then there was Mike that had CP, cerebral palsy guy.
My short time memory loss.
See, that's why you shouldn't do drugs.
Oh my gosh, no.
So anyways, like I met him, and I remember it was like one of my best friends from high school who I ended up cutting loose many years ago because he just wasn't a good person. We were hanging out. It was like Hooters downtown Orlando, and Andy came in there because he was working at he was selling homes and like short-term rentals. So they were selling like new homes, and then they would furnish them, and then families would come over from like the UK and Europe to bring their kids to Disney World. Would stay in these nice 4 or 5 bedroom houses that was actually cheaper to stay there, and they also had pools and jacuzzis, fully furnished, really nice 2-car garage, whole 9 yards, nice community. It was nicer to stay there, and so that's the kind of thing that he sold. And we were all just hanging out, having drinks and dinner one night, and I feel like I'd known the dude forever. And a year later, we were working together. I invited him to come work for me. We worked together for like 5 years, and we've been friends like ever since. And so it's just, but in order for you to bring those new people into your life, you got to create a space. And so if you got somebody that in your romantic life that is not what you want, and deep down you know it's not what you want, but because most people don't like being single, they don't like the dating process, they want to be in the dating apps, they don't like going out on dates that don't end well or don't go well. And so you go back to what's easy because you never know it. You know, especially if they're younger, you think this may never happen again. I may never meet somebody that loves me this much, even though she's not really doing it for me or whatever.
Yeah, and by you're not making the space for
something new
and better.
Yep.
And more for you.
Yeah. Part of your life path.